Road Wars follows an elite unit from the Thames Valley Police. Using high-performance unmarked cars equipped with the latest technology, the two-man crews of the proactive team are the front line against criminals. We also meet the dedicated dog handlers getting to grips with crime on the streets. In Road Wars, the unexpected is always just around the corner. Midday, High Wycombe Nick and Chris Piggott and Simon Hills, Tango Victor 3-1, are spearheading a sting operation. There's been a spate of smash-and-grab thefts from cars. A police unit think the thieves are about to strike again and have spotted them cruising this retail car park. There to head any arrest, Chris and Simon move in closer as they're fed the latest info.
Just had an update that the vehicle is being followed into a retail park where obviously the suspicion is that it's going to commit some sort of car crime in there. So we're just trying to make down to the right location to get ourselves into a position in case they want us to put a strike in on the vehicle. Here we go.
It's a finely tuned operation as the cops have to wait for a crime to be committed before they strike.
Right, we're going to get comms now, mate, so we're obviously getting... We just had an update to say that these lads are still in the car park and they're now paying particular attention to vehicles, so it looks like we're game on for them whenever they decide.
About 5 behind you. It's only here, isn't it? Retail park's here.
Suddenly, the watching team say the job's on and the crooks are escaping in their own motor. But stopping fleeing vehicles is what the proactive team do best.
Get ready to move in.
Yeah, they've got some state of offence. We need to move in, boys.
He's gone up there, mate. He's gone up. Right, go. Yeah, go. I've just seen the Renault go up, right up there.
If the team lose them now, it'll be an entire day wasted.
3-1, we're behind 3-6.
The silver car is the target. Time to strike.
Okay, this moment in time you're under arrest on suspicion of theft of motor vehicle. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you fail to mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? Yeah.
Back at the crime scene, the car's sat-nav's clearly been had away. But what proof can Chris find in the suspect's vehicle?
With a screwdriver which is used to do the vehicle, and the Tom-Tom sat down on the other side as well. He sat out of the car. It amazes me why people bother leaving these things on display, but there you go. Yeah, let me just move this.
Recently, there's been a massive increase in the thefts of sat-navs. They're easily carried and quick to sell on. Chris makes another discovery in the passenger seat.
Obviously quite heavy drug users. They've got a lot of needles and sterile swabs, obviously both injecting. And they've got that kind of rude or detrimental to them, but they've got that heroin addict look about them. Another needle box.
Yes, yes.
Banged to rights and caught red-handed, was found guilty of stealing the Tom-Tom and was sent down for 16 months. His mate was convicted of trying to steal another Tom-Tom and sentenced to 28 days in jail. Car break-ins may be on the increase, but the cops might just have a solution. Bait cars, innocent-looking vehicles kitted out with hidden cameras, have been introduced, leading to a huge 20% drop in some areas. With pictures this good, the crooks should be worried. This innocent-looking driver doesn't seem to have a care in the world as Canadian cops pull him off the freeway.
What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
He'll have a really hard job convincing officers he's innocent when he's on camera stealing their trap car. Now these lads were clever enough to steal a car and drive off, but they've forgotten a driving lesson basic. Always check your mirror.
Give me the insurance papers, man. Oh, yeah. You got racing?
The onboard camera hidden in the door even captures their arrest. Now that's coverage from all angles. This Canadian car thief is struggling with two problems. First, the car he's trying to steal is actually a police bait car, set up to catch crooks just like him. His other problem is he's not too sure how to drive a car with manual gears. With driving skills this bad, the dopey thief is clearly not destined for greatness on the car crime scene. Sometimes getting stuck in early can make all the difference when tackling car thefts. In Milton Keynes, Simon and Chris are responding to a 999 call about two men acting suspiciously around a parked car.
You know who this is? I pointed him out on the... Hello, gents. What are you gents up to then?
Why?
Because I'm asking you.
Okay. We're actually waiting for Paul to come down in a minute.
Right, OK. Which car's yours?
The blue Beamer the men are leaning on isn't theirs.
It's Mr. isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it.
You remember me?
Yeah, I've got a long memory, mate. Not wanted for anything at the moment, are you? No?
If the men are up to no good, they'll be carrying some telltale tools. Chris spots a screwdriver.
You just picked it up off the floor?
Yeah. I just picked the both up.
Take your hands out your pockets and you. Put them where I can see them.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah.
So one of these cars belongs to one of you, does it? So what were you doing in this one then?
We're trying to find out who owns it. He's way off running around now, trying to find the keys right now.
Stay
I'm
here.
not going anywhere.
I know you ain't.
Show you I've been talking to that lad in there.
Right, OK.
Yeah.
Took his dog for a walk.
And he said it's been abandoned. So what's all this about?
Hey?
What's this about?
We've had report 2 males acting suspiciously around an abandoned vehicle. That's why we've come to check you out, my friend. All right.
We were acting suspiciously, apparently. That looks suspicious.
Don't walk towards him
Billy,
like that. Just walk away.
The cops obviously think he does look dodgy and decide to search him, whilst other officers make inquiries about the car.
Got anything in your pockets that's going to cause me any harm, mate? Any sharps, anything like that?
No.
OK, just keep your hands out of them for us,
I'm just
then.
making sure there's nothing of any...
OK, mate.
On second thoughts, he fesses up to something in the tin.
There's a little tiny bit of puff in the tobacco tin.
Oh, yeah, I'll deal with that in a second, then.
Driven it here, mate.
Witnesses say the men were inside the BMW before the cops arrived, but Chris thinks it's not a crime as the vehicle's been abandoned. Even so, he's still not happy.
I mean, they've gone into that to nick stuff out of it, but we're not going to ever get the fence home on it. Listen, my friend, at this moment in time, you're under arrest possession for controlled substance, OK? You don't have to say anything we may harm
What, a
defence. You do
spliff?
not mention in question something which should later rely on in court. Anything you
You're
do, say
arresting me
moving
for a
get evidence. I certainly am.
I ain't been uncooperative.
OK, no, but you got it on you. The reason you're being arrested, OK, is to need to obtain
All right,
evidence by way
fair
of
enough.
questioning, my friend.
Fair enough. Carry on.
OK, can you sign this lady's form now?
No. I'm signing nothing for you.
Right.
Excuse me, I haven't got all my property. Do you mind get your
You
hands
know,
open?
back in a minute. No, you sit in the car, my friend. Don't play games with me. Just arrested you. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Now sit down.
No.
The man finally gets shut in the car, and so does Chris's arm. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Right, out you come.
Oh, man, when I coughed on you, Peter.
I think so, yeah. Right, out you come.
Or what?
You're going in the van. You're not playing games like that there, my
Things
friend.
like what? You arrest me for split. You're not even allowed to do that. I volunteered the information.
A couple of minutes and the van is meant to calm the leery bloke down, but he's having none of it.
What, this one?
No, not that one. The corner to...
Bye-bye. You're do you know that?
Yeah, I know that, thank you.
It's a lesson in anger management. Chris and Simon know there's been no crime with the car and were planning to give the bloke a warning for the drugs. But his temper's got the better of him and he's carted off to the nick. What a donut.
The male that we found with the drugs on him would have been suitable for street intervention caution. However, his attitude when he was placed under arrest by Chris deteriorated rapidly and he had to be placed in the back of the police car. He then obviously kicked off in the back of the car and for his own safety and everybody else's, he was transferred into the van and brought back to the police station. We subsequently found out that he's got 43 previous convictions for criminal offences, a whole range of different offences. However, being that there were no drugs offences contained within that, we are now able to give him the street caution now that he's calmed down and he's compliant. So that's what's happened. He's received an official street caution for the offence of possession of cannabis and he's now been released from custody.
It's just after midnight on Wednesday night and Rosie Vosser and Darren Staley, Tango Victor 36, are on duty on the outskirts of Reading. Travelling down a quiet country lane, they suddenly spot a white transit van hacking it through the back roads and decide to go after it.
Got a transit van who's passed us in the other direction, going through a 30. He's probably doing excess of 60 mile an hour. We've just done a U-E. We're trying to catch it up to see where he'd gone. Hopefully he's just up round the corner. Unless he's turned off. We had enough ground to be able to turn off on us. He's turned off, though, is he?
As the seconds tick by, the chances of finding the van are fading.
Yeah.
Daz thinks checking the maze of rural roads is a lost cause, but Rosie's sticking with it.
No, that's not a transit. No, two for it. Nope, taxi. Think of the time that's elapsed now.
190.
It's well gone.
It looks like the transit driver's put the van into vanished. But just as all hope is gone, Rosie spots a van ahead in front of a maintenance vehicle.
Yes, come on, be it. Game on. He's gone left. Where's everyone else going?
Reading the number plate of the van they're following, the pair's onboard AMPR computer immediately informs them that the vehicles are wrong.
It's a left.
Well, it's going to be something not right, isn't it? Because he's going far too quick.
And he's starting indicating as well.
Yeah. Right, should we illuminate the blues now?
Yeah, ready?
Yep.
B7, we got a vehicle failing to stop. It's a white Ford Transit van. Speed is 60, still red lane. What was that?
Check it's off from the car.
Yeah, the vehicle's now throwing property from the vehicle.
In a desperate attempt to lose the coppers, the van's occupants have resorted to chucking debris at the pursuit car in the hope that it'll damage it badly enough for it to stop.
They are chucking stuff. They are chucking stuff, definitely.
Yeah,
we've confirmed town, please.
That looked like a brick, that.
Maybe they want to make their car lighter and faster to give it a better chance of escaping the cop car.
Then a right onto a dirt track.
It's going to be decamp.
Decamp.
The doors are open. The crooks dump the wheels and take to the heels.
Guys, move! Yeah, two males, both IC1. On the dirt track into the dark.
All Daz can see in the darkness is the white shirt of the man he's after, but it gives him something to lock onto.
3-7, we need a dog.
Get on your feet! Now! Get on the floor! Now! Put your hands behind your back.
Well done, Dad.
Your 3-7, where I detained this male, the other one has gone left into the undergrowth, away from here, unaware of where we are at this time. Right, mate. You're under arrest this time.
I need to get back to the car.
Train to stop. All right, you do not have to say anything. My army defence don't make someone question something which you later on call. Anything you do say may be given evidence, OK? All right, up to your feet, ready? Yep.
What were you chucking out the van at us then, mate? What was that you were throwing? That wasn't you, was it?
In the middle of the van.
You were sat in the middle of the van?
Yeah.
So who was sat on the passenger side of the van then? Ivan?
Yeah, the older fella, yeah. I said I wasn't drinking tonight.
So only 2 people came out of the van?
No, it was 3 people come out of the van.
Only 2, buddy.
No, it was 3, mate.
Don't forget we've got the video.
Trust me, there was 3 of us in that van.
But as they get back to the van, there is a third man. Cops never even knew he was there, and he's not too sure where he is either.
Hello, mate. What's gone on here then?
I was here. I was here. Is that happened?
What?
What's that? I was here.
Right, until we can identify who the driver was at the moment you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to stop, you don't have to say anything with my own defence. You don't mention when questioning something later on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, do you understand?
Did you get the driver?
Did we get the driver? No.
The 2 men Rosie and Daz have stopped are arrested as possible suspects, but later released without charge after the pair realised the man who did all the crazy driving is actually the one who got away. Still, he'll have to pay a heavy price. He may have got his freedom, but the cops have got his van. It's wanted in relation to stealing petrol, and further checks reveal it's linked to a spate of vehicle thefts. Not anymore, though. The police stick it on the truck and keep it as evidence. What is it about the country air, rural roads and driving insanity? Caravan users are often accused of causing hold-ups on the road, but this is one tailback with a difference, because this caravan is one of more than 3,000 that gets stolen every year. The cars queuing up behind are police units trying to arrest the driver for nicking the mobile home. As the thief approaches the junction, cops are waiting with a stinger to burst his tyres, but he spots the spikes and gets away with only 1 tyre hit. Weaving through traffic may be okay in a sports car, but it's deadly dangerous with a huge load in tow. One slip and the caravan could jackknife, smashing sideways into other vehicles and causing carnage. Cops decide to have another go with the stinger before the valve causes an accident. At first it seems to have no effect. But the stinger has done its job, and with both tyres now flat, the vehicle is almost impossible to control. Busted. The driver never got his caravan holiday after all. He was jailed for 21 months for theft, driving when disqualified, dangerous driving, and having no insurance. Not a happy camper. A stranded driver on the M4 has called in a recovery truck to get him back on the road. He must have been in a hurry to get going though, because when the breakdown lorry turned up, he nicked it and drove off. But the rushing robber didn't know the truck he'd pinched has a tracker in it, and now he's got 4 cop cars and a chopper for company. He tries to manoeuvre away from the cops, but they stick with him. Eventually, our hapless hijacker is forced onto the hard shoulder and gives up. Silly trucker. Phoenix, Arizona, and a stolen bin van's about to meet a messy end. Bystanders are amazed to see the thief clamber out of the wreckage in one piece and leg it. But one eyewitness decides to get stuck in, and both men swing for each other. Finally, the driver is banged up against the bushes as the cops arrive. The proactive team focus on serious road crime, but sometimes they spot vehicles that just cry out to be stopped. Charlie Etheridge and Chris Ruff are on patrol in Oxford when they spot a white van in front that doesn't look strictly kosher.
Oh, crikey. Mounting the pavement and everything, mate. Oh, you all right?
You?
Not too bad. I noticed when you went past, you had a red tax disc in your window.
I don't know, mate. It's a work van.
Is it?
Yeah, it comes up expired.
Ruffy thinks the tax might just be the tip of the iceberg and probes further.
You do your checks when you go around the van every morning, don't you? No? What, you don't bother? So you just jump in the van and just drive? Yeah? It's not particularly responsible, is it? As a driver.
What are you meant to check in all of it?
Sorry?
What are you meant to check when you get in there?
What do you think you're supposed to check when you get in the van?
Brakes should all be working anyway through the van, so...
Yeah? Well, what else should you check then? Lights?
Like lights, don't use them in the day.
What, so you don't need them then? What about your indicator lights? You don't need them during the day. Do you check them before you go out? Tyres? Don't need them either.
Well, yeah.
So you're happy when you got into the van this morning, it was in a roadworthy condition, yeah? And you would know that because you'd done your checks, didn't you?
Mm.
Yeah? Right, let's have a quick look then.
The wheel arches are borderline MOT failures, and the rear bumper has dangerous sharp edges.
So you haven't got anything covering that up, have you? Indicator light smashed. Front indicator smashed as well, look. You've got some sort of loose wiper blade on... Yeah, and you're driving it around.
You don't even have one on this side, look.
Do you think it's safe to be driven on the road? No? Well, why are you driving it on the road?
So didn't do no checks this morning?
It's the driver's responsibility to check the vehicle is fully roadworthy. If you don't do the checks, you run the risk of having the coppers do them for you.
Fair bit of cloud about. Do you think we're going to have some rain? You hope not, though, don't you? I mean, crikey, what are you going to do if it rains with that?
It doesn't drive it in the rain.
Doesn't it? It's just as well. In a minute, you take off and you get caught in a sudden thunder shower. The heavens open.
Stop.
What, in the middle of the dual carriageway?
Well, no.
Yeah? That's what you're going to do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you come up to traffic lights in the pouring rain and you can't see where you're going, and you go ploughing in the back of somebody.
Check your water and the windscreen washers for us, could you? No? Didn't think about checking that before you got in. Do your windscreen wiper for me. There we go. You've got too many defects on it to drive it on the road, OK? So we're going to get it recovered. It shouldn't be on the road. So basically, I'm going to seize the vehicle, get it examined.
Yeah, Roger, we've got a Ford Transit. Sorry, it's Charlie, not Ruffy. Ruffy's on the telephone.
We've pulled him over because he's got no tax in his vehicle. Obviously, when we stopped him, you can actually have a closer look at the vehicle. You can see that it's an absolute shed. I point out various different defects on the vehicle, and in the end, it's just got so serious that we decided to have the vehicle seized.
The driver and his boss were summoned to court to explain the condition of the van. An understanding magistrate dismissed all charges due to lack of evidence. Knackered vans are one problem, but speedy motors are a different kind of challenge. Lancashire police know there's a Porsche up ahead that's going even faster than them, and they're flooring it to catch up. Despite reaching 130, faster than an intercity train, they're barely gaining on the German rocket. Finally, the speed freak spots a cop car ahead and hits the brakes, but the officers behind have got all the video evidence they need. He probably thought he'd pull the birds in his fancy Porsche, but instead the cops pull him. Hope he likes a man in uniform. Officers want to talk to the driver of this silver Merc, but when they try to pull him on the motorway near Preston, he shoots off. Ignoring all the rules of the road, he steams up to 116 and then turns off. With a reckless attitude to speed, what's he going to be like on the urban roads ahead? Braking sharply, he takes the continental approach to the roundabout. Luckily, there was no oncoming traffic. Heading for the centre of town, he smashes the speed limit in a residential area and surprises these road users waiting to turn right by undertaking them flat out in the wrong lane. The speed camera flashes, but the desperate driver's not about to stop now. Even the threat of oncoming traffic at the red lights doesn't faze him. But despite his crazy speed and reckless manoeuvres, he still hasn't managed to shake off the law and has to resort to his legs. Cops discovered £9,000 worth of cash stashed in the boot of the Merc. Not surprisingly, the driver never came back for his car or the money. An unmarked cop car between Preston and Blackpool is recording front and back views of the vehicles around it. On their way to a call and already doing 80, cops are somewhat surprised when the blue Jag behind decides to undertake them. The bloke's absolutely hoofing it, and the reason why soon becomes apparent. Moments later, the Jag's followed by a Fiat going just as fast. They're racing each other. Tailgating like this is a frightening experience for the people in front, who know there'll be a pile-up if they so much as touch the brakes. Desperate to catch up with his racing buddy, the losing driver tailgates again and bullies any other road user in his way. Finally, an open road, and he makes one last effort to take pole position. In fact, speed is a contributing factor in 29% of fatal accidents across Britain, yet this bozo takes his motor up to nearly 130 just to catch the Jag. What the reckless racers fail to realise is that officers in the unmarked car are calling him back up to nick them both. Finally, the Fiat catches his racing rival as they pull off the motorway. But it's still not the final lap, and they continue their unpredictable antics. Using the hard shoulder as a fast lane, the Jag harasses yet another driver, and the cops decide it's game over. Half a lap ahead, and the Fiat driver is also collared. Instead of a podium finish, one of the speed freaks was given a 12-month driving ban and 120 hours community service. The other failed to turn up for court and is now a wanted man. Having no regard for the rules of the road isn't just limited to drivers who like to put their foot down. It's late morning in Milton Keynes, and Simon and Chris spot a fancy motor that their ANPR doesn't like.
No licence? I'll pull him over here.
It's a Mercedes AMG SL55 worth £100,000, missing a tax disc worth 160 quid.
Right, have you got some ID on you? Is it your car, take it?
The chap says his bosses own the car and arranged the insurance, so Simon gets on the phone to check.
Hello there, I wonder if you can help me. Simon Hills from Thames Valley Police here. I've got a gentleman stopped at the side of the road who states that he works for yourselves. I just need to check that his vehicle is insured through your policy.
As Simon digs out the facts, Chris uncovers a surprise.
I'm afraid, my old friend, you're shown as wanted twice for non-payment of fines. You're also shown as having an expired provisional licence, so you haven't got a licence to drive it anyway. You come and sit in the back of our car, we're going to have to sort out some childcare for your son here, aren't we?
It's not up for bail?
No, just take a seat.
I had a meeting with the police officer from...
Unfortunately, you're shown as wanted on our computer. Take a seat down there a second and we'll sort it out.
What am I fines for?
Right, you've got 2 fine warrants, non-payment of fines. Because you haven't paid them or made any attempt to pay them, they've made them non-bail warrants. So I've got no choice but to take you to the police station and convey you down to Uxbridge, I'm afraid.
So it's £100,000 worth of motor with no insurance and no tax, and an unlicensed driver who's wanted for non-payment of fines. Simon gets back to the bloke's bosses.
Unfortunately, I've got some bad news for you. We are seizing the vehicle under Section 165 of the Road Traffic Act because it's uninsured and also the driver has no licence. Lovely. Cheers then. Bye-bye. He's coming back to the police station. We'll find suitable care for his little one, obviously, and who's going to be one of our main priorities is making sure the little one's okay. And the vehicle is being seized under the powers that it's got no insurance and driver's got no licence, so that is an expensive loss. But there we go, one of those things, I guess.
Bad news for the driver, but good news for Simon. It seems there are some perks on the job.
I get to drive an SL55.
Nice.
This is like flying an aeroplane.
You are clear for takeoff. Runway 15, wind is slight.
But see if this makes you laugh. Accidents involving uninsured drivers cost a staggering £500 million a year. And that's paid for out of the premiums of honest road users like you and I.
We'd all like a lovely car like this, and I'm sure we'd all tax it, insure it. Unfortunately, he's failed to do that, and he hasn't got a driving licence. He's got a provisional licence which is expired, so we seized the car. He'll go to court for those offences. He also owes Uxbridge Magistrates Court some of about £650, so we've arrested him for that. We're going to arrange for that money to come in. Once he's paid that money, and then obviously he'll be released to go on his way.
The vehicle's owners can only get their luxury motor back when it's fully insured, and once they send a driver who's actually passed the test. Iestyn Llewellyn is one of Thames Valley's specialist dog handlers and works his shift with his Alsatian, Boris. But that doesn't stop him investigating mysterious late-night accidents. The police advise drivers never to leave the scene of a crash without notifying somebody. But in Royal Windsor, someone's done a runner from a car smash, and Iestyn's called in to sniff around.
What we've got is reports of car accident. Cars crashed into somebody's car on Vale Road in Windsor, and the driver and the passenger have both walked off, run off. So what we're going to do now is go down that way now and see what we can find.
Turn left, then you have reached your destination.
Everyone at the scene agrees there's been a fender bender, but there's a dispute about who actually was behind the wheel.
And it was definitely the bloke driving.
You've been drinking tonight, mate? Yes. How much have you had to drink? I've had about 4 pints.
Basically what's happened is that the two lads I've just spoken to have seen this chap and the woman that he's with driving in a silver car. The male's been the driver. He's hit a curb, swerved, and then crashed into the lad's dad's car, causing a little bit of damage. The dad's come out and challenged them, and they've walked off down here, where they've stopped by officers from the Tactical Firearms Group. So they're just going to stop and speak to them. I think because they've been identified as the driver and the passenger, what we will do is require them to provide a specimen of breath shortly, just to see how much he's been drinking, and we'll take it from there with you.
But the bloke's protesting he's completely innocent. He's insisting that it was his sister-in-law who was in the driving seat.
I weren't driving, she dropped the keys, I swear now, mate.
That's what we've been told, he drove.
I was not, who told you that? Was the two little kids told you that? I got in a passenger seat, mate, I swear.
Unfortunately, mate, people do lie to us, don't they?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah,
and I've just
witnesses.
And I've just explained to you, mate, haven't I? I've just explained to you, all right, that if I let you go, okay, and then we find out you're driving like tomorrow, there's no evidence, because any alcohol that's in your system will have been gone, okay?
I swear, right.
So we need to get you back in.
Yeah.
We need to get you on the breathalyzer.
Yeah, but why do I need a breathalyzer if I weren't driving?
Because I've got reasonable grounds to suspect that you were driving, mate.
She threw the keys, mate. Come on. Oh, phone her other half in Slough, and they'll tell you she was driving. I told her not to drive because she's had too many drinks. Can't take fingerprints off the steering wheel. Prove it's her and me. Just, you know what I mean? Come on, that will prove, wouldn't it? Can't you just do that?
No, mate, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
What's happening? The chap now being chivalrous and being a gentleman is pointing the finger at the female as the driver, and not being very polite about saying it. What she's saying is obviously denying all knowledge, and what we've got is independent witnesses saying it was the male that was a driver. So we've got now a set of keys. They've chucked them. We've got to have a quick look and see. And there we go. We have the keys. So this is the car that they've used. I think they've driven along. Where have they crashed into, lads?
That Supra.
And they've curbed it. They've come up the verge and then crashed into the back of that, have they?
There's a handbag that was by the driver's seat.
I'll take the handbag down as well then.
Iestyn makes a find in the driver's seat, and it just causes more confusion.
I think she's probably going to be under arrest at the moment on suspicion of excess alcohol and making off from the scene of the TA, the accident. What we generally do for something like that is arrest both people. If they've been drinking, which they have done, we arrest both people and put them on the evidential breath test machine in one of the police stations. But once we've got their breath tests, they can't then dispute, oh, it wasn't me who was driving, it was her, or it wasn't him. So belt and brace, we'll get them both in, get them both put onto the machine, see what their reading is.
The woman was later released without charge. At the station, the bloke was found to be over the limit and was charged with drink driving. Helen Lacey is another crack dog handler from the Thames Valley.
Come on now, because we haven't got time to play with that and come back.
Her dog Bonnie is one of the site's most feared by criminals and a prime tool in fighting crime. Helen's been called to a shop theft in Bracknell, and Bonnie's in the back of the van, but may not be needed.
We're on the way to a shoplifting that's occurred at an off licence just down the road here in Bracknell. The reason we're going is because local units are quite tied up at the moment with an earlier incident, so we're helping out. From what the caller has said is that he is quite drunk, so I don't think there'll be too much, famous last words, there'll be too much problems with him running away.
If only she knew.
Dean, lose the language, mate.
Can we walk down here then?
We'll walk away from everybody down here.
Why are you following me? I've got to be home now, yeah? You know what I'm saying, bro? I got to be home. I got to be home. I love smoke puff, yeah? So
36, yeah. Can I have someone down here as
So
soonest, please?
Can't they come with?
He's tried giving it mouth, now he gives it legs.
I'm running after Dean, but he's... Yes, yes.
We know the dangers of drink driving, but running under the influence isn't working out too well for this lad either.
Get your arms out.
Me. Can they go, please? Please.
Right, this is what I'm saying to you. I'm arresting you on suspicion of theft. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence. If you don't mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court, anything you do say may be given in evidence.
It may have seemed funny at the time, but the lad's put himself through this for 2 cans of lager. And the tag on his leg suggests he's under curfew, which he's now likely to breach.
He's been nicked for theft from the local. It's 2 cans of Carling when one fell out of his pocket as he went down on the ground.
Right.
Pinned to the floor with his arms cuffed, and oddly it's his footwear that's worrying him.
And get off my train of blood. You can't afford that. See that? Yeah. Put that back on me. You know, because you're on camera. Because he's on camera, innit?
I'm going to get you onto your feet now, do you understand?
Can you lift me up by my cuff?
No, I'm not going to lift you up. I'm going to spin you round, yeah, this way, and I want you to help yourself onto your feet as well. Do you understand?
I tried.
1, 2, 3, up. Come on your feet. That's it.
No, I don't want to lie down.
Yeah. I'm more disappointed about the hole in my trousers, to be honest, because these are quite specialist trousers to go and get, and they take months to come. But yeah, also a little bit of a scuff on my knee, just a little war wound, just to take home tonight and get loads of tea and sympathy, hopefully. But it certainly wasn't going to let him get away. And you don't think about these things sometimes when you grab hold of them. But I'm happy he's tried, but he's failed, which is good. So arrested on suspicion of theft, and we're just waiting for another unit to come now so we can escort him to custody and get him booked in.
Back at the station, the suspect takes a highly relaxed approach to his arrest.
Oops. Dean! Dean, come on, love. Up you get. Yeah, come on, mate. No, Dean, sit up first, or is she going to come out like a big ball of wool? Come on, give us a hand. Lovely. Mind the steps. Mind the up you go. Go on, get in.
I've got to be home by 8 o'clock.
The government has launched a £4 million campaign designed to warn youngsters about making fools of themselves when drunk. Shame this lad's never seen it.
Do you know what?
But this lad isn't finished yet. He gives it large.
The worst thing I've done, yeah, is jacked some beers on my shop.
God, that sounds like a confession.
Right, go to the yard.
A great example of the dangers of alcohol and drugs, whether you steal them or merely take them.
I just found out that the gentleman that we just had from our little scuffle at the shoplifting is also wanted for a series of robberies, and he's also on a tag from prison. So what turned out to be a shoplifting has now turned into something much bigger, and it looks like quite a nasty chap. He's going to go back to prison for longer than he expected. So I don't feel so bad about my torn trousers now and my poor little scuffed knee, because we've bagged somebody potentially who's a little bit more than a shoplifter. Excellent, really happy with that. Good day's work.
Pick absolute legends next. I just want to smush them so much. Send in the Dogs UK in just a moment, right here.